Good afternoon, I'm Melanie.
Hello.
Today we're discussing adult literacy, language and numeracy, and we're going to cover from this board here, as we mentioned before a little, about the words license, for example, how that's a noun, and when we talk about someone having a driver's license, it has the C. When we have the licensed person or licensed real estate agent, for instance, it becomes a verb with an S. So you have to perhaps give some examples of to remember in the context we want to use it.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you can think of some more in a moment too. Maybe.
Oh yeah, like practice and practice.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah, I mean as a verb when you practice and then you actually own a doctor's practice or whatever.
Oh, that's a really good one. And it relates to this too.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to make a note as well, that's handy for later too.
Yeah, sure.
And then the word affect, I always get confused with that. Affect, like the weather and camping, if the weather's going to affect your possibility of doing something.
Yeah.
As opposed to the effect of lighting effects. And again, you have to really think hard about how you're going to use the wording.
Wow, okay.
And then another one that comes up in spelling and when we're writing letters and emails to people is the word receive. A lot of people have the I before E. They need to remember the rule, the old-fashioned rule. Did you learn that at school?
I did,
Yeah.
yeah I did. I before I accepted this thing. Yeah.
That's good. So, and if you can think of anything else, there's another word that's against that rule, neighbour.
Neighbour. Okay.
I haven't got it listed here.
Oh, I
But that's a good one. N-E-I-G-H-B-O-U-R.
So I before E is, the E is before I. Okay.
Outside the rule. Do you know of any others that you come across yourself? That way?
No, there's no other.
Worth mentioning?
Where the I is before E.
Or anything like that with some words that are difficult to remember.
No, I
Help
think it was
other
just
people.
received that I get confused with.
Okay, so then over the page here we're going to talk about email subjects and headings.
Okay.
We were discussing before how if you have a concise heading, when we go to look at the emails later on, as well as people receiving the email, they can get the idea of what we're talking about straight away and we can refer back to it easily.
Okay,
Otherwise, people don't change their subject and it can be very confusing.
Okay. So just keywords, is it? You don't actually have to write.
Yeah, keywords to say an appointment, date, time.
Okay.
For instance, repairs, mention that the tap's leaking or whatever it might be related to.
Yeah.
And also another area which I haven't written here with good communication and language is when we often use colloquialism in our speech and sometimes on the emails, and sometimes we abbreviate things so much you don't know if someone needs to do something or they have done something.
Okay.
Or
yeah.
really highlighting the purpose of the communication,
Okay.
even in speech too.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't you agree?
Sure.
So it's very helpful to have the headings correct and encourage people to do that when they're answering us too.
Yeah.
And then, it's just a short session, so I won't stay too long on anything. Now, with numeracy and, for instance, real estate rent, a couple of very helpful situations here with the rent per week to know how to calculate that. You could use that sometime later in your life as well. For instance, $500 a week divided by 7 days of the week. Our calculator. There's here. And would you like to try that?
Sure. So 500 per week, so you divide it by 7.
7 days.
7 days.
Yeah.
And it's 71.42.
Mm-hmm. So you can round it up
Okay.
if you need to, but in this case, you can
We'll
either
just
round
do-
it down, 0 is appropriate,
Yeah.
7140, or just go to the 43 because it says an 8.
Oh,
round it.
right, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's important when someone has rented and they've finished their lease and they have the week is finished and then there's just 2 more days, for instance. You need to know how to work that out.
Okay, so how many days you'd have to pay? Okay.
Or if there'd been a mistake, at least you know how to calculate back.
Okay.
And then often we come across monthly calendar rent, they call it.
Yeah.
And they, again, you can use the same example of the $500 per week. And do you want to try
So
multiplying by 52 weeks in the year?
in a year, so times by 52 weeks equals
And that's your
26,000
per annum. Now to break that back to monthly, we divide by 12.
So divided by 12 months
Yes.
is 2,166.
So you agree with?
Oh yeah, .66. Yes.
And there again, you can round to the 65 cents because that's often easier rather than chasing 1 cent every now and then.
Yeah.
And that's the correct way that if you had something go to a rental tribunal and they would be checking it, they would do it that way.
Okay.
Occasionally, other people do it in a different manner. But that's the way that they legally work it out.
Okay.
Do you want to try another one, maybe?
Sure. So
Another example,
say 450.
if you like, yeah.
Yeah. So 450 per week.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to divide that into 7 days. So divide it by 7. So 64.29 or 30.
Yes. Or 29.
29.
Would you like to write that down? So
Yeah,
that
sure.
we have that to refer back
So I say 450 divided by 7 days. And we have 64.29.
to. Yes.
And then if it's 450 per week and we want to times that by 52 to see how much a year, so
Oh no,
450
yeah, you're right, sorry.
Yeah,
yes,
times
that's
by-
correct. Yep.
52 weeks equals 23,400
Yes.
per annum.
Yes, so write that figure too,
So
please.
450 times 52 weeks equals 23,400 per annum.
Mm-hmm.
And then divide it by 12 if you want to get the monthly pay. So
Mhm.
you divide that amount by 12 months. So divide that by 12. And that would equal 1,950
Per month.
per month.
That's
Yeah.
great. And that way, whether it's a leap year or 31 days in January,
Oh, right.
etc., it covers per month.
So it's always going to be that set amount. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if they finish their lease in 6 months' time, for instance, then you go back to weekly, so like 7 days, or then if it goes for another couple of days after that, you can do the divide by 7.
Add up to 7, yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense. It's good.
Anything else you want to cover related there?
The maths? No. It's quite simple. I like it. Yeah.
And the language or the literacy sections?
Yeah, it's just more of making sure you're clear in emails. Like that example, when you write today, make sure you write the date and the time as well. Be
Mhm.
clear with that. So
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
good.
Yeah.
In case they have the wrong date
Yeah.
in mind.
No, that was good. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's good. Thank you